I set out to play RuneScape without guides and as much immersion as possible, wanting to see everything the game has to offer without locking myself into anything. I decided to play as a bronzeman. I completed free-to-play before going into membership and drew many comparisons to other MMOs. Hello everybody, my name is EK and in the past months I have put over 200 hours into the game and now I am here to chat about the road so far. Because yes, spoiler alert, I have no intention of stopping at 200 hours. Starting from the humble beginnings of completing Tutorial Island and helping a cook make a pie to slaying a dragon. My experience going through free-to-play was incredible. Even in the oldest content the game has to offer, the world felt very much alive. And this is all due to the choice to keep adding content to existing maps and not just move on to new zones. Jagex seems to really care about their entire world. Most areas seem packed with early game and mid game content. Now I can't judge the endgame content too well yet, as I simply haven't gotten to that part yet. But there seem to be high requirement quests spread all throughout the world, so it seems like that too is present all over. I was incredibly happy with my choice to complete free-to-play before going member. Having limited movement options and no easy leveling methods for certain skills, I'm looking at you runecrafting, has made the experience much more rewarding. Getting to grips with all the free-to-play systems, culminating in my eventual slaying of a dragon before finally moving on to member and unlocking glorious new skills and leveling methods for existing skills felt similar to buying a new expansion in other MMOs. I had worked towards it and I had earned it. Having to complete free-to-play before moving on set solid boundaries. It allowed me to explore within them and really understand what each system did. It allowed me to not become completely overwhelmed with a whole world to explore. Locking the member skills away for a while not only helped me focus on a small pool of skills, but it also made me hungry to check them out in due time. I had to earn the right to set foot in the Tavoli. Now let's talk a bit about the progression system, as I have come to believe that OSRS has the best progression system in any MMO. As a kid, I started out playing mostly vertical progression MMOs, as they are easy to grasp. You kill things, number goes up, you are stronger, and thus the game becomes easier. It's simple, it's effective, and it makes 90% of your game irrelevant after leveling through it. Then we have the other side of the coin. My main MMO for the past decade has been Guild Wars 2. Before that, I played a ton of Guild Wars 1. So surely horizontal progression is perfect, right? Well, it does keep the entire game world alive, but now there's a different problem. With no clear gain in power, you need to keep players playing for other reasons. Reasons that can sometimes be a bit hard to find. Now, bringing us back to OSRS, we see a horizontal progression system that contains vertical progression within self-contained skills. These systems don't overlap to the point where they invalidate content in other skills. You have to grind within skills. You can become really strong at dealing with specific things within the game. But being a high-level miner won't necessarily help you catch a shark. The systems flow well together, synergize a lot, but allow for vertical progression within a horizontal design space. A cool example of this are the skilling outfits, as you can unlock them and they provide bonuses but only to the skill that they are unlocked within. I am still very much a noob in this game and I am learning new things every single day. I want to explore the new zones and man, do I want to do all the quests. Comparing OSRS quests to quests in other MMOs is not even fair. The best quests in other MMOs barely even compare to the worst quests in OSRS. And no, I am not biased. I love dynamic events in Guild Wars 2. I loved doing the Onyxia quest chain in WoW Classic. But OSRS quests are just that damn good. The witty writing in the Romeo and Juliet quest, the hidden tutorials in quests such as Sheep Shearer, Cook's Assistant and Dork's quest, and of course the epic adventures in the Below Ice Mountain and Dragon Slayer quests. Every quest has a purpose and a place in the world. Quests like Priest in Peril have yet another purpose, setting up a certain part of the world and acting as both a barrier to entry and a lore introduction to the place. The scary, vampire-ridden place in Mauritania was set up so well. I haven't yet had the time to do a deep dive into any zone outside of Mistalin, but the world building really makes me want to. A more divisive topic in this game is the combat system. Let's face it, OSRS combat is, to put it simply, odd. On the surface, it seems incredibly simple. You click a monster, engage in combat, and hope that your character wins the fight. And that is how you approach pretty much the entire early game, as there isn't much room for skill expression. Now, don't get me wrong, the game has much more depth than that. I can't speak for the practical aspect of playing the higher end combat yet, but based on what I know, the level of skill required to swap your prayers, do so without losing your prayer points while simultaneously managing stuff from your inventory, can become insanely high skill. I find myself wondering how well the game is going to teach me these mechanics, how well the difficulty curve leads me to become a better player. It seems to be the simplest MMO combat and the most in-depth MMO combat at the same time. The answer will simply depend on the level of mechanical progression the player in question has. Right now, I can't fairly tell you whether the combat is good, but it sure has piqued my interest. I also want to dedicate a little bit of time to the technical aspect of the game. I play most of my journey using RuneLite. I was personally slightly bothered by the amount of plugins enabled by default. Plugins that automatically guided me through the game even though I wanted to go blind. I had to go find out which ones these were and start disabling them one by one. However, from a developer point of view, it actually makes sense to enable them. I reckon the majority of players want these features to be on, so it makes sense to give them these settings straight away. This way, only the players who are seeking the less common experience will need to fiddle with these settings. And let's face it, those players are also generally more inclined to look at plugins in the first place. RuneLite itself is an incredible tool. The amazing customization that HD117 allowed me gave my game such a fresh new look. Being able to change a ton of graphical settings that did not impact the UI was super satisfying. Especially as someone who loves using reshade and finds masking UI to be one of the most annoying parts. The amount of plugins for all kinds of systems was truly amazing, and they were all there at the click of a button, allowing me options to change my zoom, my camera behavior, a detachable camera, 3D weather, and a whole list of other things gave me the feeling that I could truly make the game feel and act the way I wanted it to. There is so much more I have to say about this game, so many topics that I could write a novel about, but let me stop myself here. The game is not perfect, the game is clearly janky, but above all, the game is a piece of art that showcases the amount of love the developers have for it. If you want to hear all my thoughts about this game, I have a full playlist of my entire experience on my channel that I will link in the description. I will wrap the video up here because OSRS is calling me. I believe the Guardians of the Rift minigame needs my attention. Oh, and don't forget to help my YouTube vertical progression by pressing that subscribe button. Thanks, have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye bye!